Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. In the Christian faith today, there are goats and there are sheep. There are hypocrites and there are disciples. Which one are you, friends? We're in the world, but we're not to be like the world. We're not to be like the world, friends. What has happened to our faith, friends? With lukewarm believers? Lukewarm believers know nothing about discipleship. They know nothing about the cross of Jesus Christ. Luke chapter 9, verse 23. And he said to them all, If any man will come after me, let him deny himself, and take up his cross daily, and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, but whosoever will lose his life for my sake, the same shall save it. Why? Why, friends? Why must we continue to be like the world? Watch the same things as the world, wear the same things as the world, do exactly the same things as the world? Friends, why were we born again? We were made to be holy, to be perfect, like Jesus. We can't grieve the Spirit of God any longer, friends. Time has come, friends. We're living the last days, friends. We cannot grieve his Spirit. When he comes back, what shall he say to us, friends? We now live in the time of Laodicea. Our churches are Laodicea. Revelation 3, verse 15. I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm, and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. Hypocrites, friends. Hypocrites. Just a short while ago, I went to a church meeting. It was a dance, friends. A dance. There was an auction, friends. A great host of giggles, of chatter went up in the air, friends. But then, friends, when you look outside, you couldn't tell any difference, friends, between that church and many other churches of this generation, friends. Our churches have become like the world, friends, like amusements, friends. The church I attended was selling things for social benefits, friends. While humanitarian efforts do have a place in faith, they are not center, friends. They are not to be centerfold. Jesus came to forgive sinners, friends. Jesus came not to reduce poverty, but to save the soul, friends. Why must we continue with these social aspects, friends? Raising money, raising funds, giving tithes. But then, friends, when there is no obedience, when there is no discipleship, when there is no sanctification, what work is it, friends? We do it all in vain, friends. Friends, we are living nowadays in a day of cheap Christianity. Cheap Christianity. Dietrich Bonhoeffer prophesies of this, friends. J.C. Ryle, Leonard Ravenhill used to say that a Christianity that costs nothing is worth nothing. Why must we go on the broad path, friends, when Jesus commands us to go on the straight and narrow path? Why must we be lukewarm? Why must we be like the world? Friends, don't be like the world. Here is a poem from M.C. Edwards. The church and the world walked far apart on the changing shores of time. The world was singing a giddy song, and the church a hymn sublime. Come, give me your hand, cried the merry world, and walk with me this way. But the good church hid her snowy head and solemnly answered, Nay, I will not give you my hand at all, and I will not walk with you. Your way is the way of endless death, your words are all untrue. Nay, walk with me but a little space, said the wold, with a kindly air. The road I take is a pleasant road, and the sun shines always there. Your path is thorny and rude and rough, and mine is broad and plain. My road is strewn with flowers and gems, but yours with tears and pain. The sky above me is always blue, no want, no toil I know. The sky above you is always dark, your lot is a lot of woe. My path you see is a broad fair path, and my gate is high and wide. There is room enough for you and for me to travel side by side. Half shyly the church approached the wold, and gave him her hand of snow. The old wold grasped it, and walked along, saying in accents low, Your dress is too simple to please my taste. I will give you pearls to wear, rich velvets and silks for your graceful form, and diamonds to deck your hair. The church looked down at her plain white robes, and then at the dazzling wold, and blushed as she saw his handsome lip with a smile contemptuous curled. I will change my dress for a costlier one, said the church with a smile of grace. Then her pure white garments drifted away, and the wold gave in their place. Beautiful satins and shining silks, and roses and gems and pearls, and over her forehead her bright hair fell, crisped in 1,000 curls. Your house is too plain, said the proud old wold. I'll build you one like mine, carpets of Brussels and curtains of lace, and furniture ever so fine. So he built her a costly and beautiful house, splendid indeed to behold. Her sons and her beautiful daughters dwelt there, gleaming in purple and gold. And fairs and shows in the halls were held, and the wold and his children were there, and laughter and music and feasts were heard in the place that was meant for prayer. She had cushioned pews for the rich and great to sit in their pomp and pride, while the poor folks clad in their shabby suits sat meekly down outside. The angel of mercy flew over the church and whispered, I know thy sin. The church looked back with a sigh and longed to gather her children in, but some were off to the midnight ball, and some were off to the play, and some were drinking in gay saloons, so he quietly went his way. The sly wold gallantly said to her, Your children mean no harm, merely indulging in innocent sports. So she leaned on his proffered arm, and smiled and chatted and gathered flowers as she walked along with the wold, while millions and millions of deathless souls through a terrible pit were hurled. Your preachers are too old and plain, said the gay old wold with a sneer. They frighten my children with dreadful tales, which I like not them to hear. They talk of brimstone and fire and pain and the horrors of endless night. They talk of a place that should not be mentioned in ears that are so polite. I will send you some of a better stamp, polished and clever and fast. Who will tell them that folk may live as they list, and go to heaven at last? The Father is merciful, great and good, tender and true and kind. Do you think he would take one child to heaven and lead the rest behind? So he filled her house with cultured divines, gifted and great and learned, and the plain old men that preached the cross were out of the pulpits turned. You give too much to the poor, said the wolves, far more than you ought to do. If the poor need shelter and food and clothes, why need it to trouble you? Go take your money and buy rich robes and houses and carriages fine, and pearls and jewels and dainty food and the rarest and costliest wine. My children, they dote on all such things, and if you their love would win, you must do as they do and walk in the ways that they are walking in. The church held tightly the strings of her purse and gracefully lowered her head, and whimpered, I've given too much away, I'll do, sir, as you have said. So the poor were turned from her door in scorn, and she heard not the orphans cry, and she drew her beautiful robes aside as the windows went weeping by. The sons of the world and the sons of the church walked closely hand in heart. Only the Master, who knoweth all, could tell the two apart. Then the church sat down at her ease and said, I am rich and with goods increased. I have nothing, I need of nothing, and naught to do but laugh and dance and feast. The sly world heard her, and laughed in his sleeve, and mockingly said aside, The church has fallen, the beautiful church, and her shame is her boast and pride. The angel drew near to the mercy seat and whispered in sighs her name, and the saints their anthems of rapture hushed and covered their heads with shame. And the voice came down through the hush of heaven from him that sat on the throne. I know thy works, and how thou hast said, I am rich, and hast not known that thou art naked and poor and blind and wretched before my face. Return, repent, lest I cast thee out and blot thy name from its place.